Every day, more and more people are making movies. Filmmaking has become the new garage band. I'm Gianni DiLoretto, and this is Framelines, the series that aims the lens on those who are out there making movies. Some are backyard Kubricks making movies for fun, and others are aspiring Spielbergs, professionals working hard to make it in the industry.
Framelines is brought to you in part by grants by the Greater Columbus Arts Council, the Mid-Ohio Filmmakers Association, connecting filmmakers with resources, opportunities, and each other.
What is the difference between special effects and visual effects? Essentially, visual effects are computer-based effects and special effects are real elements photographed by a camera. Back in the day of the original Star Wars trilogy, all of the effects were called special effects, but in the latest movies they combine special effects and visual effects. Even more specifically, today special effects tend to mean any effect done on set, like stunt work, explosions, makeup effects, and anything shot in camera. These could be miniatures, puppets, and even blue screen when it was photochemical process instead of in the computer. Visual effects are the computer-generated imagery, also called CGI. The first true visual effects in film were done by Industrial Light and Magic, George Lucas's company. He had a two-person department that later became Pixar Animation that created a computer-generated knight in the movie Young Sherlock Holmes. Next came the morphing scene in Willow, and visual effects took another step forward in The Abyss with the water pod sequence. The two biggest leaps of visual effects came with Terminator 2 and Jurassic Park, where traditional special effects were overtaken by the computer-generated counterparts. ILM became only one of dozens of companies to push forward the visual effects industry, and filmmaking has continued to move towards more computer-based effects. The terms special effects and visual effects have changed their meaning in the film industry forever. Hopefully, this helped you understand the difference between them.
Scott Spears moderated a panel discussion with actors with the Mid-Ohio Filmmakers Association.
So, what kind of preparation do you guys do for a part? I mean, do you study the character, if it's like a firefighter or an astronaut or whatever, do you go and do research and then you work with the director, you know, maybe some notes from the director? How do you research a part?
I do actually research. I read about like what proper police procedure would be like, or what if I'm doing like something for 8 and 5. I try to inform myself about the environment that the character would be in, you know, and then I just try to watch other films, other projects, other things where other actors have done similar things. I mean, that's always a helpful thing. Sometimes it's something you can steal from, and sometimes it's stuff that you want to avoid because you don't want it to come off exactly like somebody else did it. And then just memorizing until it's natural, until you own the words, or that's always the tricky bit because that's the thing that takes all the time.
Yeah, I try to memorize right away, and then I just wear the character around for a while, and I'll know the other person's lines as well. So just as I'm going about my day, I'll be saying my lines and hearing the other person's lines and working through it. And when I do that, just doing everyday activities, sometimes things come out differently than what I might have thought when I was just looking at the script. So that's a way to build on that. And also doing research. You know, if my character needs to faint, say, I would watch a lot of people fainting to see how that looks, what exactly happens as they faint, or, you know, something like that.
So what are you doing to make people faint?
Yeah.
So, John, what kind of research have you done for a part?
All of that. I think when the opportunity presents itself that you can have the time to research for a role, absolutely do it as much as you can. the preparation of getting into a character is also that, knowing, I mean, a lot of character building exercises that were done in some of the classes that I had taken were some of the best lessons on acting that I've ever been able to have. And it was a chance where you didn't have a chance to, might not have a chance to actually go out and talk to a police officer, but you've got to build your character in your mind and give it a rich, complete history. And
Well,
so
what's an
sometimes-
example? What's an example? Give me, you know, like if you were playing a cop, what would you?
Oh, well, a specific example for me was I did a play called Frozen, and the character was a serial killing pedophile rapist. I didn't really want to go out and research that directly with serial killing pedophile rapists.
Yeah,
But-
I understand that.
But it was a situation, and, you know, in the theater is a little bit different setting. There's a lot of rehearsal time, obviously. But I had a chance to work with the director a lot on determining this character's history of what made this character the person that you're seeing at this point in the production. And so that's, for me, that's the same whether it's theater or whether it's film. There's a bit of a history that's not on the written page, that's always not going to be on the written page, and that's what I feel is my responsibility as an actor, is to bring that in what I feel this character has gone through to get to that certain point, and that sometimes helps me to dictate how I'm either going to do an audition or a read, or how I just initially get a gut feeling about a character. You know, when you read something, you're like, oh, I know who this person is, I know why they've done this type of thing. And it's getting that history full and complete in my mind, and sometimes you do get a chance to talk to a police officer or something like that.
Right.
But other times that's your job as an actor, is to fill in those gaps or those things that aren't on the written page, and that's what makes you unique as an actor, is what you bring to it, is what you imagine that character history to be.
And even, you know, just like if you're a cop, what kind of cop are you? Are you new? Have you been there a while? How do you feel about your partner? How do you feel about, you know, your life? What's your day like? So it's all bringing all of that richness into who is this person. It's not just a cop. It's a particular cop. It's this,
Right.
you know, so it's all of that history, relationships, who you're talking to, what conversation did you have with them yesterday that's not on the film, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And
So-
specificity, you know, which I think is what you're saying too.
Yeah.
And you don't have to show up on either on set or in the theater and spout everything that you've done, or tell the director or tell every other actor, well, my character is this because of all this.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
know it, that's going to help dictate what you do, and that's what makes your performance.
What is feature length? With so many people making short films and features, a lot of people want to know what is the exact length of time for a feature. Well, it depends on which official source you want to use. According to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, along with the American Film Institute, AFI, anything over 40 minutes qualifies for feature length. For television broadcasts, it means anything 90 minutes or over. In animated films, anything over 71 minutes qualifies as feature length. The first ever animated feature film was Walt Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The Directors Guild of America, the DGA, considers a motion picture with a running time over 60 minutes to be feature length. The Writers Guild of America, the WGA, says that feature length is any movie over 90 minutes. The Screen Actors Guild, SAG, sets the minimum at 80 minutes in runtime. The Sundance Film Festival considers anything longer than 50 minutes to be a feature film. So you can see, there's no definitive answer as to what is feature length or what the length of a short film is. Most festivals agree that a short film has to be under 45 minutes in runtime, although there's a black hole of movies with a runtime between 45 minutes and 75 minutes. And most festivals won't even program these because there's no easy way to define them between being a short or a feature.
Hello. I am so sorry it is this late. But I'm not from around here, and I got lost on this detour, and I am just looking for a little bit of help right now. I am out of gas. Not too far from here, but I would love a little bit of help. Hello?
Filmmaking is sort of a new thing to me. This is 18 months in. So the first thing I did was the 48 in 2013, and bought my wife a camera for Christmas and had this thing, and I thought, well, you know, the people are using DSLRs for things, so I went out and kicked it around and worked with my kids. We put something together that I'm not really proud of to show to peers, but it's something fun to have and look back on, and I learned a lot from that. I signed up for this not really knowing what kind of crew I was going to put together, and ultimately was here and decided I would do a solo project. So I did the entire thing by myself. I was the only actor in it, and I did all the production myself, down to scoring the film. So it is a true solo project. The only help I did have is I had to have my wife stand in as a body double once, but that was just so I could do a pan, because, you know, locking down on a tripod was getting a little bit tiresome, let's say. The concept for the film, I did Who Is Following Me, and started out with a completely different idea. Went out and shot the first night, and the footage I was getting led me in a very different direction. So the script changed on the spot there, and most of it was written out on a piece of cardboard with a Sharpie. So that's how the whole thing came together. This guy's never seen a gravel road, much less has been on one, and he finds himself stranded in a place that his GPS doesn't even recognize. And he needs some gasoline. I learned a lot about noise, you know, filming at night and lighting, and it is way better to overlight and fix it in post, and, you know, add some blue and bring it down to look like night. It's a lot easier than dragging lights out, especially to a remote location where you can't even get a generator because of the audio issues. I learned a lot about ISO and using a camera that is not a full frame, it's a crop sensor. So some of those technical issues that I knew going into it, but I really didn't understand the complete relationship. So the first thing to do that I have learned over the 4 little shorts that I've done is don't overwrite it. Beginning, middle, end. Don't try to make it, you know, feature complicated. Make sure the story can be told within the amount of time, and there's continuity to the story that you're telling. I think you told me beginning, middle, end that's the key to it. And once you start trying to bring in little tangents and tributaries and things, it gets so complicated that you can't really tell the story like it should be told. So don't overwrite. Make sure you have a good story that's interesting, and get it down though. Have a script. Don't just go out and wing it. You know, don't go off the top of your head. I think writing is key. I've learned so much about writing, and I value writing a lot after this experience.
Movies start with the script. There's a very specific format for screenplays. You start with where the scene takes place, a description for the scene, then write the character name, and finally dialogue. A lot of screenplays read more like a book, and if they do, it might sound something like this.
Interior apartment day. This is Charlie's home. He's a guy in his mid-30s who graduated top of his class, lost his job, and misses his girlfriend.
Well, that's great for a novel. Making a movie is like building a house. The script is a blueprint. Blueprints are not colorful paintings or artwork. Blueprints are the foundation for all the people involved in getting materials and the construction. If we use the blueprint metaphor, the script has to tell everyone what they need, so the screenplay really should be telling the entire crew what they have to shoot. If we look at that short script from before, how do we shoot that? There are a million ways, so the screenplay should tell us more specifically what will be shown. Let's try again.
Interior Charlie's apartment day. Charlie, mid-30s and unshaven, sits on a couch. The TV flickers on his face. Several empty bottles are on the table in front of him. He pours himself a stiff drink. Close-up of a diploma on the wall. Charlie picks up a picture. It's of his ex-girlfriend and he stares at it. He lays it back down on the table.
See the difference? Now we've told the cinematographer and the entire crew what they are going to shoot. The costume and makeup departments what they need, and even props and set decorators to prepare a photograph and some of the set design. And that's not even stating the difference in giving the actors their own interpretation of what is written. So keep in mind that there are significant differences between writing a screenplay like a book and writing one for shooting.
There's a lady over there.
I'm Johanna Perry from Plainfield.
Oh, yes, of course. We've been expecting you.
She's gonna be working here?
This is my granddaughter, Sabbath.
And that makes me Ken. I'm Sabbath's father.
He doesn't live here.
You're the one taking care of his granddaughter. These are Mr. Macaulay's.
I got a headache. Don't tell Sabbath. Thanks, gorgeous.
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of influences from Ohio in these recent films that I've made. The first film that I made, called Return, is set in Ohio, although we didn't shoot there. Actually, we shot in the Hudson River Valley. But it's a fiction, but when I was imagining it, I imagined the character to live in a town like I grew up in, which is Portsmouth. This film, which is an Alice Munro adaptation, is set in Iowa. But the original story is set in Canada, and you know, Alice Munro, I think, is a really beautiful Midwestern regionalist writer. But I think her characters really couldn't live somewhere else regionally. But I don't think that you could transpose it to be like in Miami or Tijuana or something, because the way that regional behaviors are expressed in character, like the characters in her story just wouldn't do that if they were like from Paris. I guess I was mostly attracted to the central character who's played by Kristen Wiig in the movie. Her character's name is Johanna. And I was really interested in the way that the story kind of puts her into a position where, you know, she kind of comes from a world where she feels that it doesn't do her any good to want things that she can't have. You know, so she's very content in a way with her life, even though not everyone would be content with her life, but she is, and she just feels like it doesn't do her good to want stuff she can't have. But the story kind of forces her into a situation where she actually really does want the character Ken. And for me, it was very moving to see the ways that she has to kind of come to understand her own desire and then put herself at risk to try to actualize it. I feel like I am treated like I'm a good director of actors, and if that's true, I think it's because I really appreciate the work of actors, and it gives me a lot of pleasure to pay attention to it. But I also really like the other aspects. I mean, like, all of the technical crafts are very interesting to me, and I have had the good fortune of working with really talented crew talent, but they can't do their job unless I direct them also. So, of course, I think it's very important for me to be attentive to the design and to the cinematography, and that's, I think, why it's part of why those talented people are able to do good work, is because they're trying to do something in particular, which is essentially what I think the film should be like. I actually did several projects which the Wexner Center helped me support, which were short films using non-professional actors. And also I had a really helpful experience workshopping a project in the labs that they offer at the Sundance Institute, which was very helpful for me in terms of, I mean, perhaps somewhat in terms of actually learning actual skills, but even more than that, in terms of learning the kind of language and, in a way, certain kinds of professional codes of film stuff that are different than I learned in art school. you know, I teach now, and I have students who are younger women than I am, and I sometimes observe about them, and I think I might have thought this also when I was younger, that, you know, like being raised as a woman, one's often encouraged to be collaborative or generous, and it took me a little bit of time to figure out that, like, when you're working with actors or working with a crew, what's actually generous is to tell them what you want, you know, and I don't know if that's a gendered presupposition that that for me personally, it took me some time to figure out that that was a generous move, or if that was in some way against some kind of gendered training that I had learned in our culture or whatever. But it doesn't plague me anymore, because I really feel like that's what helps people and allows them to bring their skill set onto my project, is to tell them a framework for bringing their knowledge to bear on my vision. One thing is something that my friend Ira Sachs told me when I was on the set of my first feature, and we had one night shoot that was like very, like, I was worried about it, you know, and I called him and I was like, I am worried about that. And, you know, and I was worried, so if he had told me something really elaborate or complicated, I wouldn't have been able to remember it or whatever, and we were on the phone, but it was as if he grabbed me by the shoulders and he said, just respond. Like, just respond, and it was 2 words so I could remember it, and in a way that's the most useful piece of advice anyone's ever given me about being on set, is like, you know, you should know going in what you want it to be like, and then once you know that, you just respond, and I thought that was a good one.
Peter John Ross breaks down a movie-making technique right now.
Creating storyboards becomes more important as your productions get larger and larger. Storyboards are a way of showing your intentions more clearly to the entire crew. These are a way of clearly communicating to cast, the camera and lighting departments, and even hair and makeup or wardrobe and props as to what is needed in each shot. How much is seen inside a frame can even determine how much time is needed for scheduling. Even rough thumbnail storyboards with stick figures can help get an idea across to people. Or you can do more detailed storyboards with even more information in the frame. Going one step further, you can animate the storyboards in the computer to create animatics that show camera movement and timing for the scene, so you can demonstrate pacing. Storyboards are sometimes drawn outside the frame so you can allow more movement of the camera or even allow more options when shooting. Sometimes storyboards are just rough ideas, and sometimes they can be exactly what winds up on screen. For this Framelines interactive project, we're going to be using animatics. Animatics are animated storyboards. This hospital scene has storyboards by Nally Art's Walter Nally, who drew each shot in layers so that we can animate the characters and the backgrounds separate from each other. Most editing software will let you do some basic controls of each layer. You can simply change the scale or size and also the position using keyframes like this. If you want to get more advanced, you can create virtual cameras with focal lengths, as well as emulate actual camera moves like this. You can download the layers on our webpage, www.framelines.tv, to go with the script. Anyone can edit these and post them online. Please just credit the artist and the show, and use the hashtag FramelinesTV. We hope this encourages you to go out and make your own storyboards or a movie. I'm Peter John Ross, and thanks for watching Framelines. I love Back to the Future. Not only did they make an Oedipal complex a comedy, they also had some of the best continuity ever. One of my favorite things in the film was a little scene joke done by the art department.
Old man Peabody owned all of this. He had this crazy idea about breeding pine trees.
At the beginning of the movie, the mall Marty meets Doc at is Twin Pines Mall. After Marty goes back in time, runs over one of the twin pine trees, he comes back to the future and it's now Lone Pine Mall. Seriously, that is a giant metal sign that the art department had to make twice, then keep track of it for continuity based on which scene they were in. All for a visual joke most people missed.
Framelines is always looking for stories about the filmmaking scene in this part of the world, so if you know of something or someone you think we'd find interesting, please drop us an email at info@framelines.tv. Framelines is ready to wrap up this episode. We hope that you come back next time for another look into the world of indie filmmaking. Cut, print, that's all for this week, folks. I'm Johnny DiLoretto, and thanks for watching Framelines.